My audio working? There we go. Oh, we don't have any music. Gotta have music. All right. Here we go. Round 2. We're going to try to solve this thing. Hey, what's up, Anonymous Panda? Yeah, we're having a day stream. We're going for round 2 of this Advent of Code problem because I couldn't solve it this morning, and I got my family out the door, and so we're all just kind of, or not my family, but my family that was visiting is out the door, so we are going to take another crack at this thing. We'll see how it goes. I think we're close, honestly. Hey, what's up, Lilo Gamer Pro? How are you? Good afternoon. Gone. I don't have enough outlets down here. Hey, Rampla. Yo, up again. We're going to try to do Advent of Code again is what we're going to try to do. This morning wasn't horrible, but I got stumped. And then toward the end of it, I think I got unstumped. So we're going to try again. You know? You know what they say. If you don't try the first time, or if you fail to succeed, try again, right? Or like Winston Churchill said, never, ever, 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 ever give up, or something like that. What's up, 199? And Amazon still hasn't delivered? Oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. I'll be lurking, still at work, but it's dead slow. Most engineers aren't looking for integration support during a code freeze. Yeah, that's fair. This is kind of, you know, it's always a catch-22 when you work in corporate America. It's like, do you take these days off? Do you actually use your PTO to take these days off because it's going to be slow anyways? Or do you enjoy the slow time and then use your PTO on non-slow time, right? For me, I think personally, I wouldn't take it off, but because I have kids and they're on Christmas break, I'd much rather be off while they're off, you know? But yeah, feel free to lurk. Actually, we added a command. We added a command this morning. If you type !lurk, you'll see the new command we added this morning. Because here at this stream, we believe in lurking. Lurkers are first-class citizens. That's that focus on a problem until it's solved. Yeah, exactly. This morning I was proud of myself though, because I wanted to keep going on it and I set it aside because it was more important that I spend time with my family before they left instead of hyperfixating. So I was proud of myself for doing that. But now we're back to hyperfixate on it some more. Coffee. Hey, how's it going? It's going good. Root Monsters, how are you? Good afternoon. Welcome to an afternoon stream. I don't know how long this stream will be. Probably either until I solve the problem or I get interrupted by something else. It is currently 3:42 p.m. Currently. Is each coffee from a different country? They're not all from different countries, but they're from different suppliers, roasters, I guess is what you call them, producers. Yeah, so they're all from different producers, which is pretty cool. There's only been one of the 22 that I've tried. There's only been one that I thought That wasn't so good. But yeah, we've had coffees from Kenya, coffees from Honduras. Shout out Hondurans. That's my family's from Honduras. We've had Guatemalan coffee, Ethiopian coffee, Nicaraguan coffee. We've had a few different places in Africa, a few different places in Central South America. Yeah, we've been all over the place. But yeah, it's all been good. All been good coffee. I haven't had any coffee from Turkey. There's been no coffee from Turkey. It was fun. It was an expensive splurge. This whole thing. This was like a $200 box of coffee, but I thought it was worth it. You need pairing your coffee with single origin dark chocolate. Ooh, that would be great, man. A little coffee, a little chocolate. That'd be wonderful. Actually, more of my vibes is pairing coffee with some sort of pastry. I really like pastries. It's kind of a problem. So whenever there's pastries in the house, I need to exercise quite a bit more during that week or that day. I have read some cards. When you take a break, wondered which have been your favorite so long. There's one in here from Mexico. That's my favorite. I think it was like day. See if I can find it. It was like day. I put the cards in here. I probably should have kept the cards out. It was a Mexican coffee. Yeah, this one. This was my favorite. It was called Mexican Mazateca Mujeres. It was really good. It was day 12. I can send you the link if you're interested. I don't know how available the coffees are on their website, but they were very good. Yeah, pastry. Man, I'll take all the pastry recommendations you guys got. Pastries are so freaking good. Any baked good is good. I've yet to have a baked good I don't like. That thick sludge coffee. Yeah. I don't know if I want my coffee sludgish. Like, I don't care for a French press because usually it feels like it's kind of like a dirty cup. I much prefer like a pour over myself. That's why I like this device. This is called a Clever Dripper, and it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get like an immersion brewing effect, but you also get like a clean cut because it filters it out. There's another device called a Hario Switch that does a similar thing, very similar to the Clever Dripper. All right, I filled this up too much. And it's too hot to sip. This is problematic. So we're just going to have to stand here while I sip this down because I'm not going to walk onto the carpet with it. Hey, what's up, Tao? How are you? It's been a minute, man. I know my stream schedule has been kind of weird, so. Busy Slim, how many coffees you drink a day? This is pretty abnormal for me nowadays. I don't usually drink coffee at 3 or 4 anymore in the afternoon. Just with my schedule lately, but I might have 2 to 3 coffees a day. All right, I think we can go to the office now. Ready? To the office without spilling. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is so dangerous. If we were on hardwoods, I wouldn't care so much, but since we rent this house and it's someone else's carpet, I try to be thoughtful about it. Chat, come this way. Come on. You guys always screwing around out there. Just get into the office, okay? We got work to do. All right, we're back. I thought you on that limit in your morning stream. No, actually, this morning we only had 1 cup of coffee. But lately I've been doing like a couple cups of coffee in the morning. I've been doing a shot of espresso, or I've basically been drinking a long black at the beginning of the morning stream, and then midway through the stream, I usually brew a cup of coffee. All right. We're gonna see how this goes. I don't think my keyboard's connected. Come on, keyboard. Connect. You guys ever have issues with Bluetooth? Sometimes Bluetooth, the reliability is kind of not great. Hey, what's up, Oblivious? We're back. Almost missed it. Yes, don't feel the need to hang around. You were here this morning, so. Hey, what's up, Unique UX? W stream. We're going to try to make it a W. We're going to try to get a dub. We took an L this morning on the problem. We're going to try to get a dub this time around. Oblivious. There was like 3 people this morning that were basically like, Steven, stop being an idiot. I'm not saying that you guys were actually like this, but there was like 3 people this morning that were really, really trying to help me get over the hump. And I think they actually got me there. I just think I ran out of time to kind of implement what I had in mind, which is why I'm back this afternoon to see if I can work it out. Yeah, that's good. Let's open up NeoVim. And let's put, yeah, we got that. And then let's also pin a message real quick, because I forgot to do that this morning. Good afternoon. I'm working on solving day 11, part 2 of Advent of Code. Feel free to hang out and vibe with us. If you are new here, try commands for context, or just type lurk. Am I going to stream tomorrow too? Oh yeah, I'll stream tomorrow. It's only 3:49 p.m. So I'll still do my more normal stream. I don't usually stream in the afternoons because on a Monday at this time I'd be working, but I'm off all week. I took off PTO. And my kids are just upstairs hanging out. My wife's hanging out, so we're just kind of we've got plenty of time this week to spend together. So if I want to take a couple hours in the afternoon to do an afternoon stream, no big deal, you know. One of the benefits of not having a big chunk of your day ate up with a 9 to 5, you know, or 8 to 5, whatever have you. One day I'll retire. I think right now, if I keep going at my savings pace I'm at right now, I'll retire. I'm 32, so 52. I think the last time I looked at my FI number, I think it was 52 is when I would be able to make work optional. So one day I'll have more of an open schedule during the middle of the day. Busy Slim. It's probably Windows screwing up. Oh, you think Windows is fucking with the Bluetooth drivers? Well, damn it. I guess more of a reason to switch over to Linux. Unique X. Were they helpful, or were they trying to backseat code? Oh no, they were super helpful. They were super helpful, yeah. Oblivious was one of them. Bob Knoll, another guy that kind of hangs out my stream from time to time. He was super nice. There was a new fella this morning. His name was, oh shoot, Radiant Energy or Energy Radiant. I forgot his name, but he was very helpful as well. So, yeah, all helpful. I mean, I've been super lucky. All the people that end up in my chat lately have been really nice, kind, like generous people. The Penguin, thanks for subbing. So yeah, so it was all good. WPTO, yes, WPTO indeed. So actually at my work, we have what we call unlimited PTO, which is kind of like don't fuck it up for everybody type of policy, which, you know, people have feelings on both sides of the aisle about whether unlimited PTO versus specified number of days of PTO is good or not. I like it, so I take advantage of it quite a bit. But yeah, W. ETN was all, yeah, and ETN, yeah, there was another guy, ETN, yeah, there was like 4 or 5 people that were all being very, very encouraging, very helpful, and Steven was just being a shitty student. But I think we finally got there. So where we ended up with at the end of this morning was basically I came to this conclusion that
I think, all right, let me show you what I have right now. So basically, what I do right now is I use a topological sort. So we parse in our input, and just if you're new to the problem, not that I don't know if you guys actually care or not, but just to kind of set the context for what we're doing. We are doing Advent of Code, day 11, part 2. And so this is what our input looks like. And this is basically describing the paths in a graph, specifically in a directed acyclical graph, meaning the graph doesn't turn back on itself and it only moves in one direction, which kind of simplifies life quite a bit, actually, in terms of complexity. Please ignore the messiness of this drawing, but basically this is what we're working on. We have a graph with some nodes in it. Actually, I can delete some of this. And spoiler alert, if you're currently working your way through Advent of Code, don't let me spoil it for you. So I'll give you a second to click away before I go any further, or scroll away, as it were. So we have this node, we have these nodes, and the nodes are connected to each other, and we can basically follow from one start node to the end node, right? And part 1 of the problem was we need to find the number of unique paths from the start to the end. Part 2 of the problem is we need to find the number of paths, the number of unique paths from the start to the end, but we only want paths that go through 2 specific nodes, which are the FFT node and the DAC node. That's the twist. And the way I solved it in part 1 was an algorithm, was basically depth first search with a stack, and it had a time complexity of O of n squared, essentially, which basically meant with the new input, it ran forever. It would just never succeed. So what we refactored to was I refactored to a topological sort, which has a better time complexity. And now what I'm doing is I'm not really, what's the term? I'm not really exhaustively following the paths. What I'm doing now is I basically figure out the order in which the nodes are processed, and then I use the fact, I basically use the pattern of the math here where everything above this merge point, there's a single path for each node above that merge point. Then for each point after that merge point, there's now 2 paths. Then when we hit another point, right, the number of paths doubles again. So I'm basically using this pattern of the math at each of the merge points to calculate the path count, which is what you see me printing right here. So if we run this really quick, let's see, go test, and I think we want to do solve again with the problem. So see, I get some really big numbers here. These are not right though. So what we actually need to do is we actually have to process pieces of the graph, and then we have to multiply them together. So basically we're going to process one leg. So we're like going to process this leg. Then we're going to process this leg, right? And then we're going to process this leg. So we're basically going to have 3 legs, or we're going to have 6 legs. So we're going to have 3 legs that look like this. Then we're going to have 3 more legs. The only difference is we're going to switch DAC and we're going to switch FFT, right? So let me show you what. I'll dive in here. So what are we going to do to do this? We're going to need like a helper function. We're going to need something that's like func. Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me turn off Copilot, because I bet Copilot could single shot this now. So count pass, and we're going to need a start, and we're going to need an end. And this will return a number, I think. Hey, Sauce. Hey, what's up, Bob? No, part 2. Yes, we're down. We are day 11, part 2. Part 2 of trying to solve it, or something like that. Round 2 of trying to solve it, or something like that. Yeah. So we're gonna give this another shot. We'll see how this goes. It could end horribly, or it could go really well. I think though I have a way to solve this though. Excuse me. All right, so let me show you what I want to end up to be able to write, and then we can kind of work through implementation. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to do something like this. So we have our server, our DAC, our FFT nodes defined as constants. And so what I'd like to be able to do is I'd like to be able to say path A, right? So this is the first set of legs. You can kind of think of it. So I'm going to do count paths, and we're going to go from the server, let's see, the SVR node to the, let's say the FFT node. And then we're going to go from, then we're going to multiply that by the same thing, but instead we're only going to go count paths from the FFT node to the DAC node. And then we're going to go multiply that by count paths again, and we're going to go FFT node to the out node, like that. So each path, right, is made up of 3 segments, and the only difference is that the middle segment flips the order, or the only difference between the 3 segments is that we flip the order in which we go after the nodes we care about. So let's do this. But how using, sorry guys, I fell behind. Minecraft idea. Are you on Linux or WSL? I'm on Windows. Yeah, I'm on just straight Windows. But how you using NeoVim? I just installed NeoVim. So if you go to the NeoVim website, let me find it here for us. They just have an installation for NeoVim. I think you can also install it through Wingit, which I think is what I did. NeoVim, Wingit. Yeah, I just installed it with this. Right there. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some subtlety. There's the only problem I've run into with NeoVim on Windows has been the path separator. That's the only thing I've really had issues with. Is some plugins kind of assume that the users of NeoVim are all Mac or all Linux, and so I've had to patch a couple plugins that I use to deal with the fact that Windows has a different path separator than Linux or Mac. But other than that, it's been pretty straightforward. I never knew that was possible. Yeah, go for it, man. It's just, yeah, I mean, it may not be what's typical, but like, fuck typical, right? Like, average is broke, so let's not be average. What are you using for your terminal? Is it all NeoVim? No, I'm using, so I use my setup. I need to do it. I haven't seen Pablo in a little while, actually. I hope he's doing okay. One of my chatters says I need to build a setup page that kind of explains all of my local, like how I typically work on stream. But I'm actually in Windows Terminal, and I'm using PowerShell, not Windows PowerShell, because that's, I know it's confusing. There's Windows PowerShell, which is only for Windows, but there's PowerShell, which is cross-platform that you can use on Windows, Linux, or Mac, and that's what I use as my terminal. Vinny, thanks for subbing. And inside PowerShell, I have NeoVim running. So that's kind of the hierarchy of setups here. So the terminal app, PowerShell, NeoVim. And then I'm writing Go is the programming language. Ruben Reed, what are you doing? Oh, I should have pinned that message. Let me pin it. We are solving day 11, part 2 of Advent of Code. So if you're not familiar with AOC. I'll put the link in the chat there. Ruben. Was Ruben screaming at me? Ruben, calm down, man. It's fine. Minecraft. What's that autocomplete plugin? I'm assuming you're talking about... are you talking about this guy? This one right here? You're talking about this? This is called PS Readline, if you're curious. It's called PS Readline. If you're talking about the NeoVim, my autocomplete comes from a tool called InVim. I think it's, what is it? Hold on, I don't know. I can't tell you off the top of my head. I think it's InVim CMP is the plugin. Also, just for reference, I'll show you, but just for reference, my NeoVim configurations, if you type !NeoVim like that, it'll take you to my GitHub where I have all my NeoVim configs. But I'm pretty sure it is. So I've used a combination of stuff. So I've got auto pairs for completing the brackets and the parentheses. Then I have CMP InVim LSP, which is what helps me take the completions from InVim CMP and surface them through the language server protocol in my editor. And then I have these snippets that kind of give you like VS Code like snippet completion. So when you see me typing in NeoVim over here, there'll be kind of a mixture where some of this is coming from the LSP and then some of this is coming from sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Some of this is coming from LuaSnip. It'll be a mixture depending on like what language I'm working in and what thing I'm doing. But if you're interested in NeoVim, the guy that I think always direct everybody to take a shot at following his course is if you go to YouTube and you look up Typecraft or type NeoVim for noobs, this was the course that personally convinced me to take on NeoVim. So if you're somebody out there lurking and you think you want to try NeoVim, I'd recommend this playlist. But yeah. Minecraft. NeoVim is an editor. Yes, it is a terminal-based text editor. It is indeed. Obson. Thank you for subscribing, man. I appreciate it. Ruben reads, wait, what is NeoVim? NeoVim is a terminal-based editor. Ruben, it's because you kept skipping my comments. Then as soon as I sent the screaming chat, you answered my questions. Well, we need more people making games on stream. I don't do any game development. But I can tell you, Ruben, if you come into my chat and you yell at me, I'm just going to kick you the fuck out, man. I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2, which means there's a lot of grumpy dad energy in here. So if you scream at me, I'm probably just going to be like, get the fuck out. Close the door. So, but you're welcome to hang out. If you're kind and generous and polite, you're kind to hang out here. Make me a mod, I'll ban him. I have the power. No, I'm fine with people being silly and stuff, but just, you know, I mean, you can't expect everybody, like, you can't expect to show up in somebody's stream brand new and like get your question answered like right off the bat. You know, you gotta be patient. There's a little bit of a lag between you and between me, and then I fall behind in chat because I'm talking about something else, and so you just gotta be patient. Damn it, guys. Brand new hoodie, and I got coffee on the hoodie. We're gonna have to spray and shout that out. I'm sorry, okay. I'm sorry I'm new. I've never literally been here. I literally just scrolled down. No, man, you're welcome to hang out here, man. You're welcome to hang out here. I know you're new, you know? But, like, if you were new at, like, a coffee shop, like, if you walked into a coffee shop and you met someone new who was working on a cool programming thing that you might also be interested in, and you were like, hey, what you doing? And that person, like, took a minute to, like, like recognize you and look up, you wouldn't like scream at them, would you? So I think it's a good rule of thumb to like treat people on the internet like you would treat them if you met them in real life. I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. So you might just want to, that might just be me as a dad spreading a little bit too much dad advice on the YouTubes, but that's kind of how I try to show up here in my stream. I just try to treat you folks like I would if I knew you in person. Suas, I really like your hoodie. Oh yeah, this is my mother-in-law got this. This was actually one of my Christmas gifts. So yeah, we'll have to use some stain remover on there. Steven, can you take a look at that video? Just small luck. I just need what you think about the concept. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did I miss your link or something to us? Steven, just remember there's a lot of kids on here too. Well, there you go. Well, they've come to the right place. They can have some dad energy. So what you're telling me, Renee, is I get to be a parent off stream and on stream. Is that what you're telling me? The father archetype is kicking in. It really is, man. I can't. It's like once. I mean, you guys know Unique UX, Renee. You know, it's like once you become a dad, it just kind of it invades all things in your life in terms of the ways you show up. Just you can't help it. You know, like if you're the first dad in your friend group. Have you been going since this morning? No, I hopped off. I finished up at like 8:30 this morning and then got off for a bit. Sonic, thanks for subbing, man. Appreciate it. I got off this morning for a little bit, took a little bit of break. Aristide, thank you for subbing. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name. But I came back because I think I can solve this. That's why I'm back, because I think I can solve it. Suha, scroll up. Let me see. I missed your message, man. I'm sorry. I wish I could just filter by name. There's a feature request. If you, Suas, aren't you in the Discord? Drop in the Discord, and I can look at it. Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in your guys' ears. Lay down the law. Don't let me bring the Switch to you. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in a house where I got my ass whooped. Like literally, like belt, wooden spoon, like got my ass whooped. I know that's not, I don't do that. I don't do that to my kids. It's kind of fallen out of favor. Like whipping is kind of not a thing anymore as a parent. But I grew up in a house where you got whipped if you got in trouble. Let's see. I don't know if you have any hurls, but having a daughter changed my perspective on women in a big way. Actually, oh, I can't. I totally believe that. I think having kids changes your perspective on humanity. I can't help but interact with people now. Like I see somebody and I can't help but think this person was somebody's baby. Like this person in front of me, no matter how nice or maybe shitty or bad they're being, I can't help but always think like this was some child. This was somebody's like little sweet cherub baby that they held in the hospital, you know? And somehow in negative circumstances, the thing I try to think is for some reason the world got a hold of them and the world did something to them, right? I don't know, maybe it was the parent, I don't know, but something happened because they didn't show up in the world that way. You know, people show up as innocent, good things, and then somewhere along the road, you know, things happen to us, right? So it's given me a lot of empathy for you. I got the horse jockey whip. Yeah. So we're kind of, some of us are cut from the similar cloth. If my grandpa, if he wasn't listening to school, he'd get the ear flick. Eesh. Yeah, that'll do it for you. Is it just me, or is GitHub crashing today? I haven't had much interaction with GitHub today, actually. So I know I see GitHub taking a lot of heat in Twitter a lot these days. A lot of people calling for like a new CEO or a different. I guess they have an interim CEO right now. But a lot of people calling for leadership and changes and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, winners. Whew, yeah, that would hurt. That'd hurt real bad. Tyler, you literally just justified murders. What? Me? I did? Hold on, what? What's going on? I hope I didn't. Did I say something? I still noticed that back in 2015, they did ear flicks. Yeah, GitHub Actions is down. Oh, are you saying because I try to have empathy for others? Oh, is that what you're saying? Okay, listen. I'm not saying like I think everyone's justified in what they end up becoming as human beings. What I'm saying is, since having kids, there is a side of me that looks at other human beings and sees more humanity than what I used to see in front of me. Is what I'm trying to say. Not trying to justify bad behavior. What I'm just trying to say is there's a level of empathy or sympathy for others that I lacked before I had kids, if that makes sense. Because as a kid, you probably never stopped to think about the fact that the people you interact with every day were somebody's child. But then you have kids and you realize, oh, yeah, we all start off really innocent, like a blank canvas in a lot of ways. There's some nurture there. There's some nature there. There's also some nurture, but like, I don't think anyone grows up and no one's born into the world and wants to be evil or bad or terrible. At least that's what I believe. I think the world and other people get a hold of them and make them that way in a lot of cases. All right, let's try to implement this count pass logic. So I think the count pass logic is actually going to be very similar to what we have up above. But instead of always doing the server node, we're going to do whatever's passed in here. So instead of that, we do pass count and then we do end. And the process order needs to be passed in, I think. Yeah, we need to pass in the process order. So we'll do slice string. Oh, and then I guess we also need to pass in the adjacency list too. Adjacency. We could probably do this with a closure and not have to pass these, you know? Like define the function in the function and then we just use a closure to capture them. But I'll do this. It'll be fine. So then we can get rid of this. And then instead of server node, this will be start. Like that. And then we just have to update these calls to say process order and adjacency list. That's going to make this line really long, but so be it. I just want to get this to a passable state, and then we can refactor. Because we could probably have like a... Didn't you mention that, or somebody mentioned this morning that they actually had a directed graph class that would probably be helpful to have for future advent of codes. Process order. How do I go back forward? There we go. So I actually think this is what Bob was hinting at. Trainman, thanks for subbing. This was actually what Bob was trying to hint at me earlier today about breaking the problem down where we're not really trying to solve the entire graph. Now we're just solving we're solving individual legs of the path, right? And so I think this might work, but famous last words, right? Is there anything else we need to do different in count pass? So we pass in the start, we initialize it to 1, then we just loop through the process order. In item pass count in. I think that's it. Let's see what we end up with. Let's see if this actually runs to completion. Hey, what's up, Volk? Yeah, I'm back online. I felt like I was super close to figuring out the solution this morning, so I decided to come back this evening. Totally agree. Don't want to get too philosophical, but if you go deep enough, I don't think we really have free will. Oh, interesting. Okay. Little determinism in the chat. I mean, I'm happy to get philosophical. I think philosophical is good. Steven, can you locate my video? I will take a look at your video, but I'm not going to do it right this minute. If that's okay, Suhas, just because I want to try to see if I can get this across the line. But I will be happy to. I'll be happy to look at your video. Just not right this minute. How did we go from solving code to do we have free will? That's this is okay. Well, you know, Minecraft idea. I don't know how long you've been hanging out my streams, but that basically summarizes my streams in a sentence. You know, 1 minute we're solving code, the next minute we're trying to solve world problems. It's, you know, it happens. Tyler, that was me. Well, it was me when I started saying that. I started it, and then Tyler was like, "Wait a minute, bro. If you carry that logic to its logical conclusion, you can sort of justify anybody's behavior." It's my first time watching a YouTube stream. Well, welcome to my YouTube stream. Hopefully it's an enjoyable experience. I'm in the second part of my offensive cyber sec module, and it's getting me hard. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, whatever does it for you, Volk. I mean, it's not kind of my thing. I mean, we all have our stuff, but it's not me. But I'm glad you're excited, man. Renee, we have free will. Also, Renee, thank you for being a member, man. Appreciate that. I should have said that much sooner. We may lack the guts to execute a decision. That doesn't mean we don't have free will. Interesting. So, determinism is sort of determinism is caused by fear or lack of willingness, right? Or lack of mettle to like do what you really want to do. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there definitely is like something to be said about like, do we do the thing? Like, for example, like most of us work jobs not because we want to do those jobs, right? Not because they are the job that we want to be doing or how we want to be spending 40 hours of our time. It's because we need to, and we need to because of kind of the societal contract that we've all agreed to play a part in. And so I guess if you were really courageous and you really didn't want to do that job and you really wanted to exercise your free will, right, you'd have the courage to bet on yourself or chart your own course, or, you know. So that's kind of an interesting take. There definitely is like how much of our actions are driven by our own desires versus just like the constraints that society has placed on us. Yeah, for sure. You can choose what you want, but you can't choose what you want to want. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the nature versus nurture argument, right? How much of who we are is based upon who we are, like fundamentally, versus like the people we were born to, the place we were born in, right? Like if I had been born in, I was born in a southwest, I was born in a small town in southwest Missouri, to white working, middle class, lower to middle class, working parents. If I had been born to a single mom in Chicago, would I be a completely different individual? Who knows? Would I want different things? I don't know. We're just chemistry that is somehow creates poor copies of itself. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we kind of suck at copying our DNA, that's for sure. That's why cancer is a thing. Um, all right, let me try this real quick before we go on another philosophical tangent. All right, this is our answer. How many digits is that? That seems fucking huge. That's not right. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 18, 19 digits. That's way too large. But I think it's too large because I didn't flip these. This should be DAC. This should be DAC. This should be DAC. And this should be FFT. And then this should be so we want FFT to DAC, we want DAC to FFT, and then we want DAC to out, and we want FFT out. Yeah. So I actually had 2 mistakes there. Let's try again. That's just too many. I think that's just too many. Is that the same? That's half. That's about half, right? But I think it's the same. Is it the same number of digits? Somebody this morning said it should be about 15 digits. So that's 15. Okay, let's try this. That seems more plausible. Dude, if this solves it, I'm gonna do a bunch of kettlebell press. Yeah! Let's go! Let's go! Fuck, man. Okay, I have to give credit to Oblivious, Bob Knoll, who else? Etienne, Radiant Energy. There was like 4 people in this morning's stream that I have to kind of shout out, because I don't think without them I would have gotten that solved. Let's go, man. That feels so good. Yes. That was awesome.
You did it.
Fucking right I did. Let's go, man. Thank you, Bob. That's too kind, man. That's way too fucking kind. But that that one's I'm proud of. I'm proud of myself. Well, first of all, chat, thank you. But I'm proud of myself for sticking with it, that I didn't give up. I still think, man, that might be one of the single most important character traits to develop, is that ability to just stick with something. Like, what's that? There's an Einstein quote that goes something like, it's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stick with problems longer. That's might be the single most important thing to like adopt as a way of life. For sure. Okay, that's awesome, man. Fuck yeah. Okay, so there's probably a better way to organize this code for sure. But I think I'm just going to commit it as is so people can see where I started, and then I'll refactor it to something different. So we don't need solution 2 any we can remove this. This was a fail. This was our failed attempt. And we don't need this guy either, since we just used the strings. I'm kind of basking in the dopamine at the moment. By the way, I don't understand people who compare themselves to celebrities. I live in a capital city, so I get to go to the gym with movie actors and India soap opera actors. I know how much money and effort they fit into their bodies. I think celebrity people are just enamored with celebrity, right? It's just the life that those people lead. There's just something about us that I think we all kind of have a little bit of voyeur in us, right? That's why we like vlogs. That's why we like day in the life videos, you know. We just kind of want to see, we're interested in each other. We're interested in other humans and their lives. It's just, I think it's our nature. You're never going to match that. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you can't compare yourself though. You know, you can't, yeah, comparison's the thief of joy. That's why I'm a big supporter of Einstein. Yeah, I love that quote. It's such a good quote. Yeah, his biography is very, very good. That Walter Isaacson biography, it's very good. No, I don't mind you, man. Yeah, sure, you're fine, dude. It's totally fine. You can take your questions in whatever direction you want, right? You're totally fine. Sort of on topic. I've been code golfing for this day 11 part 2, and I might have written a crazy good contender. Really nice. It beats other examples I found on GitHub. Very cool. I'll bet there's people who benchmark that stuff. Have you guys seen the 1 billion row challenge? 1 billion row challenge? I think this is kind of an interesting performance challenge. People submit, Kai, what do you code? Hey, what's up, Kai? I typically work in C# and TypeScript is typically the programming language that I write code in. For Advent of Code this year, though, I'm writing Go, which has been cool. Suhas, what is the quote? It is, I think I said it wrong, but it's something to the effect of, I'm not so smart. Yeah, it's this one right here. He says, or this is attributed to Albert Einstein, it's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. And I've always felt that. Like at work, I've kind of developed this reputation of being able to solve complex issues. And I always tell people it's not because like there's something unique about me, but like where somebody else will give up on a problem like at like 2 or 3 hours or maybe half a day, I'll work on that problem for 3 8-hour days. You know, I just won't give up. And there's something to be said about that. I think probably a lot of big scientific breakthroughs are that way, right? A lot of people who they make their life's work a singular pursuit, right? Difficult problems often require that level of focus and dedication. Could you post in Discord so we can see? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, share your code golfing. Kai, do you know the Odin programming language? I don't know it. I've heard of it though. So I'm a fan of. I'm guessing a lot of people already know this guy. His name's the Primogen. So if you ever heard of the Primogen, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Primogen. I would not be doing what I'm doing on my YouTube channel right now if he didn't exist. But he did an interview with the creator of Odin that I watched that I thought was good. But I've never actually written any Odin programming language. Let's see, Odin programming. Yeah, I've never written any of it. I've heard good things. I've heard good things about Odin. I've heard good things about Zig. I've heard good things about Rust, but I haven't taken the time quite yet to be decent at them. Amazon made me stay awake till 11 p.m. only to say it's coming tomorrow instead. Boo, Amazon. Let's get some booze for Amazon. Yeah, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. Well, I hope you get your parts tomorrow. Hopefully they do really show up tomorrow. All right. Well, I guess let's commit this, yeah? Oh, hold on. Before I do that, we need to add that as our test. So let's delete this. And then let's rename it to test solve part 2. Part 2. Let's rename this function to solve part 2. And then we need to set this to whatever our answer was. What was our answer? It was like 3 something. Oh, also, I'm going to share this one. I had help from chat, but I'm super proud I didn't give up on it. Okay, return. This is our answer. All right, go. Let's run all our tests. See how long they take to run. Go test. Oh, hold on. There was cache results in there. It's pretty fast. So we have one solution. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 or 7, 8. We have about 8 solutions that are a second or more, which I don't really know is good or not. You probably have to go and run some other people's solutions to see where we stand from a benchmark perspective. But I'm just glad I solved it. This is the furthest I've ever gotten in admin of code before. Solved part 11, or sorry, day 11, part 2. Why do I have 2 different branches? Okay, GHPR create, and then we'll merge this in, and heck yeah. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Does chat want me to ask the Prime what he thinks about Odin? Yeah, go for it. Suhas, do you agree, Steven? There's a million things I haven't done. Just you wait, just you wait. Yeah, for sure. There's tons of things I haven't done. I started growing a mustache and a beard around the time I started using NeoVim. I mean, that's one way to do it, I guess. I can't grow facial hair. I mean, I can grow facial hair, but like it comes in all patchy, so a mustache and beard is out for me. Let's see, I think key traits for programmers: 1, sticking with hard problems until solved; 2, knowing how to learn what you don't know; and 3, continuous exploration. Yeah, I would take those 3 traits over somebody who grinds LeetCode, honestly, myself. I mean, those 3 traits might exist for a person that grinds LeetCode, but I'd much rather have those just those 3 raw traits in somebody than have somebody who maybe is like an expert at, you know, CS, you know. What is the platform? Oh, I use Blue Sky quite a bit. I do scroll X, but I don't post very much on X. I use Blue Sky quite a bit. It's the first time I've actually seen Oh My Posh's Git mechanism in action. Really? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's called Posh Git, I think. Posh Git is the name of the read line, or not the read line, the commandlet or the PowerShell plugin module. I don't even know what you call them. Posh Git. It's good. Omar, is it Copilot? Is what Copilot? This? Is this Copilot? What are you saying? That is not Copilot. But I do have Copilot in Neovim. Is that good, or is it just like X? No, it's very similar to X. Yeah, it's Blue Sky is very similar to X. I think a lot of people left Twitter to go or left X to go to Blue Sky when all that drama was going down with Elon Musk, and then I think a lot of people left Blue Sky and went back to X. X pissed me off. Twitter pissed me off because I had an account on there, and then they yanked my account, and no one would let me appeal it, and so then I was like, well, fuck you guys. So I made another account on X just so I could like scroll, but I don't really post much on X anymore. Why my account got banned, I don't know. The reason they gave was for ban evasion or account suspension evasion or something like that, but I've had that account for 10 years or for a long time. I don't know what I did, you know, and it wasn't very heavily used, and for whatever reason they banned me. So be it. I will live out my days on Blue Sky for the moment. Mastodon, I think Mastodon is a really cool, like I think the Fediverse in general is a very cool idea. I just think it's difficult to execute on it because of network effects, you know? The network effects are kind of what make all those social platforms interesting and engaging, and so trying to convince a whole bunch of people to move to someplace else or to do something different is really difficult. But I like the idea of a federated social media platform. Steven, do you have any photos of you with a beard? I really want to take a look. No, that's why I said I can't. Like when my facial hair gets like longer than like a couple, you know, what is that? Centimeters? It just shows up as patches all over my face. And so I've never had a beard. I think you would look so cool and badass. Well, if I could grow one, I'd try, but I can't grow one. Hey, what's up, Thunder Deer? Good to see you, man. How are you doing? Sam, I am learning Go. Awesome. I've been learning Go too. I started learning Go in November. So November 1st-ish, I started learning Go, and I've done all the days of Advent of Code with Go so far, and so it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the language. It definitely hasn't replaced C# and TypeScript in terms of like how much I enjoy working with it, but it's a really fun, interesting language for sure. I posted my day 11 on Discord. I'm curious. I'm eager to see Libby's golf solution. Yes, I'll be curious to see all your guys' solutions. I haven't had time to go through it all, but I'd love to. I think what I want to do now, if you guys don't mind, I mean, obviously you guys don't have to stick around, but I think what I'd like to do now is I think I'd like to set up a debugger for my, I'd like to set up a debugger for Go and a test runner for Go. So I think I'm going to start with the test runner. Let's see, test runner, Go. Sammy, where did you learn the language? This was kind of what I did to learn it, Sam, or Sammy. Sorry, I don't know which one you go by. I'm gonna go call you Sam because I think the second part of your name looks like your last name, maybe. So Sam, doing pretty good. Doing some deep diving in CPU architecture, looking to move down in the stack at the moment, so I'm studying. Nice, man. Very cool. Sam is nice. Okay, I'll refer to you as Sam. I love Thunder Deer that you're just casually spending some time on CPU architecture because you know that's what people spend their time doing. You know, just perusing CPU architecture. This is how I learned it, Sam. These were the resources I used. So I used a site called Tour of Go, which is part of the go.dev website. If you go to go.dev/tour, you'll find that tutorial. And then I also went through a book/website/tutorial called Learn Go with Tess, which is kind of some of the information between these two things are redundant. And this takes more of a TDD approach to teaching you Go, which I really, really enjoyed. And then after we did those two tutorials, we jumped into some old Advent of Code problems just for practice. And then we spent a little bit of time building. I built like 1.5 projects. I built a static website with Go, and then I built a semi-flushed out REST API with Go. And then I did all the 2025, or so far I've done all the Advent of Code problems in 2025 with Go. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Right now I'm using C and Verilog. Very cool. Well, I hope your explorations of CPU architecture are going well. I'm actually interested to see a Go debugger in NeoVim. I'm a printf debugger myself. Yeah, I think most people who do a lot of Go are probably, but I would like to have a debugger set up. We can start with the debugger. Let's see. Go debugger in Vim dap. Let's see. This is the an extension for MDAP, Vim dap, providing configurations for launching the Go debugger delve. Is that the best debugger for Go? I don't know what the best debugger for Go is. Best debugger for Go. Delve is a debugger. Delve is a better alternative to GBD. Okay, so this is what they recommend Delve, it looks like. So let's set up Delve. Delve in Vim dap. I use this thing called mvim dap, which is the debug adapter protocol support in NeoVim. And then I set up the debuggers just according to however this tells me to. Let's see, we're looking for Go. Go using Delve directly, is that what we want? Let's see, newer version of Delve experimentally implement the DAP directly so that it can be used without installing VS Code Go. Felipe, thanks for subbing, man. Appreciate it. So what should we do? So install Delve, install VS Code Go. So I wonder which one's newer versions of Delve experimentally implement DAP. So I'm guessing this is what VS Code uses. This setup is probably more approximate to VS Code. I don't know what the right thing to do is. I guess I'll start with this and we'll go from there. The test learning approach Stephen Freeborn took to Go was actually pretty smart. I would recommend it to most people. Yeah, I would like, and that's still a project I want to do in 2026, is I want to make a C# version of that. So instead of learn Go with Tess, I want something that's like learn C# with Tess, because that was one of the best learning, like programming language learning experiences that I've had, was that website. So I would totally second that. Great resource. All right, do this. We can do go install. I wonder, I'm curious. Let me take a poll. How many people we got here? We got 71. Let me take a poll real quick. Let's see. Start a poll. How do you debug your code? I'm curious because I think I know the answer, but little of both. But I'm curious. Yeah, little of both. Oh, print statement, 60%. Okay, so I thought it was going to be people who do a little of both. So there's actually quite a few people who don't use a debugger at all. That's surprising. I don't know. I use a debugger, like, I probably overuse a debugger. I think some people would say I'm too dependent on the debugger. I mean, I think being able to do printf debugging is probably a very important skill set, but I'm surprised by that poll, honestly. But I bet there's also a lot of people here that use NeoVim too, because it would be interesting to see the overlap between like this poll and people who use NeoVim versus VS Code versus some sort of IDE, right? Because if you use NeoVim and you write a dynamic programming language, I bet you do a lot of printf debugging. Like it's probably much more straightforward than worrying about a proper debugger. Bob Noel, all print statements and unit tests for me. I never got into the flow with debuggers. Yeah, I don't think one's necessarily superior than another, but I definitely see like a divide between if you learned the program using things like Visual Studio, you probably are very familiar with a debugger and you probably rely on it. But if you came up in a world that was more like text editor and the console and the terminal, probably less so. Renee, print statements won't always work. It probably is more difficult in certain scenarios, but I think you can probably get pretty far in most problems with print statements. Won't always work, especially with cascading errors. Maybe. I mean, what are logs other than print statements, right? So, I mean, we use logs and traces to debug production problems, right? So, I mean, I think you can get pretty far with using print statements in a lot of cases. Yeah, cool. Okay, I mean, this is very fascinating to see the votes come in. I thought everyone was doing a little bit of both, but this is very heavily skewed to print. Meh. I love that. I love that message. That's like, that's how I feel when sometimes, all the time. It's a proper response. Meh is a sentence. It depends on the project. I ever really used a debugger when I was creating a neural network with assembly or something. That's fair. That's fair. I started mostly Visual Studio and C++, and there it's nice to step through your memory pointers. But even now in VS Code, I stick to print debugging. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've met very many people that have crossed the divide. I will agree with Minecraft idea, though. I think it's heavily dependent on context. Like, I've done all of Advent of Code with just printf debugging, right? And I've been plenty fine. Because I think that makes a lot of sense in this type of context. But I think if you're working in a really complex, large solution, right, with a lot of threading, multi-threading, Souptic, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate that. Francis Francisco Luzia, maybe is how you say your name. Thank you for subscribing. I'm butchering people's names today. All right, we have to install another thing, right? We have to install this. So we have to... Okay, I don't like this. So basically I have to put this somewhere. I have to put this in an absolute place. Let's see. Works with go.mod packages and sub packages. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this configuration. That way I don't have to install this, because I'm not really a fan of the fact that I have to place this somewhere on a machine, and then I have to code the path to the adapter. I'm not a super big fan of that. I feel like it makes my configs less portable. So I'm gonna try this guy right here. So let's go to my invim configurations. Oh, also, I can end the poll. Thank you guys for taking the time to answer that poll. That was very kind of you. All 19 of you who voted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. My default mode is fuck. Yeah, my default mode probably has the word fuck in it too. Let's see. We're gonna go to plugins. We're gonna go to debugging. I probably need to start thinking about breaking this file up a little bit, huh? So we've got our DApp UI here, and then we've got our Node JavaScript adapters, TypeScript and JavaScript adapters. Then we've got our C# adapter. What is this? Code LLB. Oh, this is for Rust, I think, is what I set this up for. Code LLB. I don't even remember what that is. I think that's code LLDB. A VS Code debugger extension for native code. I think I set this up for Rust. Yeah, that's what I set that up for. I obviously haven't used it much. So let's just add our Go configs here between C# and Rust. Format. Remove the comments. Configuration for debugging test files. Works with Go mod packages and sub packages. Great. And then what's up here? So this is, what are we doing here? So config mode equals remote. And config request equals attach. Then looks like we start the server up on the configured port and host. It looks like there's some defaults. Otherwise, we don't specify a host. Oh, I see. Okay. Because if it was remote, then yeah, you'd want to specify a host. Otherwise, we just connect locally. I probably don't need this. I don't ever expect to do a remote, but... Alright, so then let's go back to our advent of code solution. Let's see if we can step through this. Oh, we probably need to reload our terminal too, don't we? See you, Renee. Have a good day, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you. You're just me, but old. Yeah, I am kind of old, aren't I? For YouTube, I'm kind of old. I don't know, 32. I mean, Casey Neistat was arguably like the king of YouTube, and he was 34 when he started vlogging. So like, I mean, if we're talking ages, right? Maybe I'm early. All right, let's see if delve is in my path. It needs to be in my path, doesn't it, though? For this to work? Oh, that would help if I called it correctly. DLV. DLV. Help. Yep, it's there. Okay, cool. So let's open up NeoVim, and let's try to set a breakpoint somewhere in here. So let's go into just here. And we'll do leader DT. That sets a breakpoint. I need to change. I need to come up with a better breakpoint icon than just the letter B, don't I? It's not very pretty. And then let's do DC. Oh, let's so let's debug our test. This is how I work a lot of times, is I debug tests. So then we'll say DC, and we'll do debug test. And what happened? Oh, it worked. Hell yeah. Although my UI looks really dumb in such a small window, but it worked. That's awesome. Let's see. DC, I guess. Should continue. I can't. These windows are too small. How do I make a window smaller? W decrease width. I need to come up with a better key for that. Okay, so then we can step over this, right? Step over. Wow, that was super easy to get set up. That's awesome. Yeah, baller. Baller. Who thought I would ever be so excited about getting a debugger working? I love it. I love it. Okay, now let's go ahead and check that in to my NeoVim. So let's go to nvim config, get status, get add, get commit im feature, add debugger for Go. I don't know how much work, honestly, I'm going to be doing in Go as I move forward into 2026, but I'm glad I took the time to learn the language. I'm glad I know how to work in it and do some basic stuff with it. We'll see, you know? We'll see how often it comes up. All right, what was the other thing? We were going to set up a test explorer. That was the other thing we were going to set up. So let's find, I use NeoVim. It's called NeoTest is the framework I use for testing. So let's do NeoTest Go. This plugin provides a Golang adapter for the NeoTest framework. We want to use it for, so this is how we set it up for Packer. How do I set it up for Lazy? Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy how easy that was to set up. It just worked, man. I literally did 3 things. I installed Go. No, I did 2 things. I installed Delve with Go, and then I copied the configs from the plugin page to my configuration, and we were running. So that was great. Steven, I need attention. Suhas learned German. Hold on, what is there? Hold on. What did you say? I shall unite under one command. I have no idea what you're talking about, Suhas. I think the world is rotten. I'm the only one who can fix it. I don't think you want to take over the world, man. I'm telling you, as someone who's in charge of 2 kids under 10 years old and also responsible for taking care of my wife, you do not want to be in charge of the world. Like, you should be suspicious of anybody who wants to be responsible for other human beings and be in charge of them. You should be suspicious of those folks. Like, it's not as fun as people think it is. Let's see. Is there a language I want to explore? Yeah, I would like to learn Rust next. So that's on my before end of 2026. I'd like to have a pretty good handle on Rust or be familiar with Rust. I started a Pluralsight course called The Fundamentals of Rust. I've started trying to work my way through that. So I've never written a language that is like what you would consider. I've never written like a low-level language like that where I have to work with memory directly. So this is kind of my first foray into it. And I picked Rust instead of C purely because I felt like Rust was like on the comeuppance. I felt like, well, people are saying, well, Rust is a safer language or designed to be a safer low-level language. So I thought, well, I'll go learn that, and so far it's been interesting, I'm starting to do AOC 2015 and Zig. Nice. Yeah, I've heard good things about Zig. I love making desktop apps in Rust. eGUI is such a simple and functional GUI library, for example. Nice. Okay, I'll have to look into that. I've not built any desktop apps in any language. I've not done any native desktop app development, so that would be fun to build something with Rust for sure. All right, I'm gonna see if Gemini can help me do this. Let's see. I want to set up NeoTest for Go in my NeoVim configuration. I'm using Lazy NeoVim, or I'm using Lazy as my package manager, but the NeoTest Go plugin only has an example for Packer. Can you help me with the equivalent for Lazy? Here is the config. Look at me being a prompt engineer. Dude, the number of people who come into the comments of my shorts where I talk about AI and basically tell me that my issues with AI is just amounts to a skill issue. None of them take any time to ask like questions about my experience with AI. Like, I've spent the better part of 24 months helping build our AI implementation at work. Like, I'm very comfortable with working with AI, or generative AI and large language models. I have opinions on them, but I have opinions on these things because I've spent a lot of time working with them. People just lack curiosity, So many folks on the internet, they just lack curiosity about other people. They're so eager to like hit you over the head with their thoughts and their opinions instead of being like interested in understanding what you think, right? Let's see. Get NeoTest namespace. API calls creates or returns namespace. I don't know why I need that. Require NeoTest setup. So that's that simple. I just need to add that as an adapter. If you need to pass specific configuration to the Go adapter, like forcing specific test flags, you can change the adapter line to a function call. Would you like me to help you configure a key binding to run the... No, I already have that. Okay, so that actually I guess is much simpler than what I thought. So I just need to add this as a dependency. Whoops, this is not the right place. Warning, Rust has the steepest learning curve of any language I've tried, but it's my favorite right now. Oh, well, good. I think I'm ready for a steep curve, you know? Throw me into the deep end. Smoke like a hippie. Nice username, dude. AI is reliable and unreliable at the same time. I find myself having to do a lot of correction. Yeah, I think when you work with those tools long enough, you start to get a feel for like what can Copilot single shot, what can it not, and you start to get a well, really whatever LLM you're using, Copilot, you could be using Gemini, you could be using Claude, but you start getting a feel for what they can do well and what they can not do well, and then you start kind of figuring out it. It's funny because the dream for artificial intelligence is that you can express yourself to the AI like a human being, and the AI will work with you. TTK, thanks for something, will work with you the same way another human being would work with you. But what's funny is what's really happening is we are basically inventing a sort of a really, really abstracted programming language using natural language, because we're all refining our prompts, and we're learning the right way. We're learning what's the right sequence of characters to put in to get the sequence of characters we want out, or give us the highest possibility of getting the sequence of characters we want out. So it's very interesting that we're using natural language, but we're learning that we have to be very specific, and we have to structure our natural language in a very specific way. And so we sort of, in a lot of ways, we're like reinventing programming languages using natural language. It's kind of a fascinating place we find ourselves with at least AI that's powered by LLMs. Minecraft, please don't repeat that. What? Hold on. What's happening in chat right now? If it depends on how much information about the topic is on the internet. If it's rare, it will put a lot of wrong guesses here and there. Yeah, I mean, essentially, right? Like it's just a byproduct of its training data. But it's interesting, as human beings, we kind of get a feel. Like we almost start to train the way we speak, so that or the way we write to the LLM, so it's optimized for the LLM to understand. The same way we sort of optimize the way we write text for C++ compilers or Go compilers, right? You have to put the right tokens in to get the right result out. And we've just applied that to natural language now instead of using actual programming languages. At least when it comes, and I'm specifically talking in the area of programming. Like, I know LLMs do more than just write code, so but yeah, I'm talking about specifically in the domain of like software engineering. Holy crap, Bob, you know a lot of freaking languages. Lisp, C, C++, Go, Jesus Christ. Oh, Haskell? What was learning Haskell like? Did that come easy, or was that hard? Yeah, I'm curious about Haskell, because that's those functional languages. Those are the ones that kind of have me the most interested. Suhas, I didn't really read your joke, but I would say any joke that involves Germany in World War II, you probably have to walk a fine line there, man. Yeah. Yeah, I would just be careful with that topic. So how did I set this up? So it looks like I can can just add that there. And then we can do require, yeah. Oh, I don't even need to call it, do I? I just need to pass it in like that. So why would I want to pass in additional configuration? If you want to enable experimental features or provide more arguments to GoTest. By default, GoTest runs for current package only. If you want to run it recursively, you need to set recursive run true. Interesting. Okay, so there's a little bit of uniqueness that we need to... I don't like the fact that if I want to run this with specific commands, I have to update my config. That's kind of not ideal, but so be it. This is interesting. I don't know what this is about, but it seems like it might be helpful to set that up. See, so we're inside the config. So we'll add this here. Okay. I think that's... I think it would be nice. The only thing I wish that I could do here is I think it would be nice if I could, when I run tests, if I could prompt myself. That might be something to look into. I think it would be really nice to be able to... That's fine. Let's just give this a try. So let's write that out. Let's open up NeoVim. Haskell is cool. It's not crazy, but the way people talk about it's not crazy, but the way people talk about it is. I followed along with Learn You a Haskell for Great Good. It was fun. Would recommend, not as primary language though. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. For sure I will. Good morning, or good afternoon, you mixed dev. Sorry, I forgot it's not morning. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's try to go to one of my test files. Let's go to, let's go to here. So if we do Control T, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so this is looking at the root, right? So it sees that I have tests all throughout here. So let's go to grid. Let's go to grid tests, and then let's mark it, and we'll do leader T R, no, TS. I forget which. How do I run marked? Run near assess. No. It's like T-O. I know I have it set up in my NeoVim config. Hold on, sorry. How do I run the mark tests? There you go. Run marked. TSR. Leader TSR. So we do TSR. There we go. Oh no, it failed. Why did it fail? Let's see. TSO. P. Oh no, it passed. So why did it report it failed? Interesting. So it passed, but for whatever reason, it reported it as failed. TS. I guess let's try another one. Let's try this one. I wonder if it's because they're in a table. Let's try one that's not in a table. Yeah, let's try this one. Nope, that still failed. So why is it marking it? It's marking it as failed. I wonder if this is a path separator issue. I've had this issue before with plugins like this. Neotest Go Windows. What are you building in NeoVim? Oh, we're not building. We're not really building anything. We were solving. I failed to solve my Advent of Code problem this morning, so we were solving that this afternoon. And now what I've been doing is I've been setting up a debugger and a test explorer for my Go projects. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then I'm just talking to you guys, drinking some coffee, shooting the shit, just chilling on stream with you guys while I take care of some chores. Steven, as an American, what is your probably either a 270 or a I don't have one, but I've always thought they look really cool as a 1911. I've always thought those look really cool. I don't have one though. It's a bit peculiar for me because I've always used PyCharm and VS, but I like the terminal things. Yeah, oh hey, what's up, Etienne? Hey, I finished. You might be happy to hear, but I finished my. I solved the Advent of Code. So you weren't here when I did it, but I did solve it, and part of it was definitely in thanks to your encouragement this morning and your hints and your very helpful ways of trying to teach me. So thank you very much. Try to set up flash.invim plugin too. What is that? Flash.invim? I'm always happy to take a look at a new NeoVim plugin. Navigate your code with search, labels, enhanced character motion, and tree sitter integration. Interesting. So what does this do? Integrate with your regular search using labels appear next to the matches, allowing you to quickly jump to any location. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to give this one a shot at some point. Got my star. I want to figure out why though Neotest is reporting incorrect. Windows. Incorrect. I think I might have to go digging through this plugin to figure out why. why this is the case. If I had to guess, it's definitely probably related to the fact that I'm on Windows. Convert the JSON output from GoTest to an intermediate format more similar to neogit.result. Collect the progress of each test into a subtable, add a field for the final result. So it looks like we're parsing JSON. If a new file and line number is present in the current line, use this info. Okay, let's see. Get test file info. So this is some sort of utility method that they're doing. So get test file info. String.match patterns.testLine. Extracts test file and line number of Go test output in the format main. Some error message. I see a hard-coded path separator, so that tells me that maybe they didn't ever expect people to be on Windows when they were when people were using this. I don't know if that is actually the issue, but there's definitely an issue because see, like you can see. Let's see if we can copy this. Leader Y. Let's put this in a JSON formatter. We might fork this plugin. I might fork this plugin and try to see if I can't figure out why I'm not getting the results I expect. Oh, am I missing a bracket? So there's our package. Okay, that's not helpful at all. That doesn't tell us anything. Okay, I'm gonna fork this. Where did I do that? Code. No. Where did I fork things at? There it is. It's hidden. Are you using assert instead of testify? You mixed up. I'm not using testify. So would that cause it to be an issue? Does this only work with testify? Is that what you're telling me? Oops. Oh, I guess maybe I should read their README, huh? The above mentioned vim.diagnostic.config is optional. Oh, so you're saying you think that this is causing an issue? Can you answer my question? What is your question, Shaw? Sorry. Yeah, retype it. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I think I had some weirdness with NeoTest 2 and eventually bailed on it. Yeah, it is weird. It's not working. So, but let's try. Maybe a mixed dev is right. Maybe it has something to do with that way I am screwing with the with the config message. Let's just comment this out. Never mind, it's a stupid question anyway. No, man, no questions are stupid. I just wasn't paying attention. I'm happy to answer it though. Let's see, let's close that and we'll do leader, no, sorry, Control T. And then let's go here, internal file, no, let's do grid. And then TM, and then TSR. Okay, nope, that's still. Whoops. This is fascinating. So I thought it might have been the tables that were messing it up, but it fails regardless of if there's a table involved or not. It makes me think that when NeoTest passes, I had to do this with Playwright. I think it was the Playwright config. Let's see. NeoTest. Pretty sure I had to do this with them. Let's see, where did I fix this? Building the spec. So it's whenever NeoTest Go hands the spec back to NeoTest. So we need to find the place in this code. Create tree, has properties. Oh, this is the test code. Yeah, I guarantee you this is what the problem is. I'd be super surprised to find out it's not that. It's not what the problem is. Oh, these are all tests. It would probably be easier for me to plug this into my configs and debug it that way. Let's see, recursive run, match root pattern, generate position IDs, transform test name. What does that do? That's just ugly, ain't it? That's ugly. Build spec. Here we go. Build spec. Local dir. Table flatten. I guarantee you this is the problem. See, because the way this works is the plugin, the NeoTest plugin for the specific languages has to report back to NeoTest, which is like the parent level plugin, what things pass and what things fail. And the way it does that is it builds this spec that basically allows NeoTest to resolve to a specific place in the code to mark things as pass or fail. And so I'm guessing there's some issue with what's being handed back. Although the spec is being somewhat built correctly because it's able to run the test. It runs the proper test. It just can't report the results correctly. Let's see, file ID. I'm guessing the issue is going to be somewhere in here, if I had to guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, Steve in the chat is moving. Sorry, guys. Hey, what's up, Filthy Potato? He lives. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of an evening stream here, trying to tackle Advent of Code. Or I did tackle it, but I didn't solve it this morning, so I came back this evening. You mixed dev. If I understand right, the test passed, but Neo test fails. Correct. Yes, you mixed dev. That is the issue. So if you've seen this before, please help. I think your choices are interesting. I'm not a big fan. I've never used any of those before, so I can't really speak to them on an individual level, but they seem like good choices, Suhas. Nothing wrong with that. I think I answered your question, Suhas. Renee, Suhas, check yourself. Hey, Renee, what's up, man? How are you? You're back. But yeah, if you mixed up, if you've seen this before, I would love your assistance. He got his answer. Let's move on. Exactly. Yeah, Suhas, it's good, man. You don't have to beat a dead horse. I can't keep up with you though, because like, I think I could keep up with you if we were having a direct one-on-one conversation, but I apologize. I am gonna miss your questions and your messages from time to time, and I apologize for that. I do my best to try to keep up with chat and also do what it is I'm trying to do. So I do apologize whenever I get distracted. Utils.normalized ID. What does this do? What do you do? Yeah, I guarantee this does not account for people being on Windows machines. Okay, I'm gonna use my fork so that I can start screwing with this plugin. I don't have to necessarily do this on stream either, but I'm here and now I'm focused on it, so I'm gonna just follow this. I'm gonna follow this thread that I'm pulling on. Test. So we are going to copy this. And we're gonna go over here. And instead of this, we are gonna do this, and we're going to pass in my forked version. We're going to call it branch equals fork. And then, what are we going to do? We're going to close all of this. Back up. Oh, hold on. This is gonna complain actually. You mix that tree sitter. Alexandros, thanks for subbing. That tree sitter stuff looks ugly. Yes, it might not does parsing right, but I don't know anything about that. Nice catch. Yeah, I don't know if it's actually broken or not, but just based on my prior experience with dealing with NeoTest and plugins and being a Windows user, I feel like I'm in the minority of NeoVim users because I'm on Windows and I'm not using like WSL or something like that. So I think I run into some of the rough edges from time to time. I could be completely wrong, but I think because I'm here, I'm going to try to see if I can't fix it to make it work. Because it might not be a really significant thing. So let's edit. Big. Let's do lazy. Let's uninstall. And then install. Okay. So then what we can do is we can go to that neovim config and we can go into, actually I'll go to invim data. That's where we want to go. And we want to go into lazy. And we want to go to invim, or sorry, neo. Go in here. Get status. Okay, we'll do get checkout b fork. Right? That's what I. Yeah, that's what I named the other one. Okay, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and open this up. Let's go ahead and open this up. Etienne, any reason to keep using Windows though? It feels like you've effectively moved to Linux. The main reason I use Windows is just because it's what I'm comfortable with. I still like a lot of the productivity and creativity tools that I have on my Windows machine. Yeah, just comfort, familiarity. It's the same reason a lot of people use Linux or Mac, you know? There's nothing really intellectual about it or objectively makes it a good choice. I do want to do a Linux daily driver whenever I get a new laptop. I'd like to make that be a Linux daily driver, but I'm not ready to kind of leave Windows behind entirely. Come to the Linux dark side. Come. You know, it's funny, Linux users sound a lot like, you know, somebody who rolls up in a paneled windowless van and is like, would you like to try some would you like to try some Linux? Get in. We have cookies. Exactly, Philly. We have cookies. Exactly. Get in. I've heard Omarchi is a nice stepping stone. A bunch of people have been saying Omarchi's nice, and I've watched their. So I should say I have some experience with using Linux on a desktop. I have a Ubuntu machine in our house that's set up as an Ubuntu desktop. I know people have feelings about Ubuntu. I know, but that's so I'm not totally foreign to the idea of using it for desktop stuff. I will say though, watching the Omarchi demos or the Omarchi screenshots that people send me, that looks way better than anything I've used on the Ubuntu side in terms of like aesthetics. Everyone's setup looks really, really nice. Omarchi was paid. Oh, interesting. I'm using Arch Linux with Neri, Wayland, Compositor with Noctilia Shell. I have no idea what any of those words were, but I love that you're loving it, and I loved the video you made of your setup. It looked awesome. Stephen, configure your own system. Please do not use someone else's configuration. One of the core principles of Linux is it so configurable. I guess I feel your... I understand what you're saying, but I think most users, and I think I would include myself in this camp, I don't really want to have to piece. I don't want to have to make every decision, at least to start with. I don't want to have to make every decision. I want to start with something. Excuse me. I include myself in the majority of users who do not want to have to make every configuration decision. I want good, sensible defaults out of the box that give me good aesthetics and good functionality. And when I'm ready to make a different decision, or I have a good reason to change the default, then I want the ability to go and change the default. I think that approach wins. I think if you make everyone build everything from the ground up, people just have too much going on in their lives. They have to worry about what to make for dinner that night. They don't want to have to figure out every little nook and cranny that you need to touch to have a good experience on a desktop computer. And I think that's why Omarchi is winning over so many people, because out of the box, people seem to be getting a very aesthetically pleasing, functional system that they can then escape and make their own whenever they want. That's my take. I get you. No one has the dedication to write their own language and design their own 16-bit processor. Yeah, exactly. Like you gotta think about what to make for dinner and like all the other different stuff you have going on in your life. I don't want to have to have a PhD to get my desktop environment configured. And I get it. Someone out there is going to say it doesn't require a PhD to configure your Linux system. I understand, but there's just so many prerequisite levels of knowledge that I would have to invest so much time to get to something that approximates what I currently have. I just want something that works out of the box with the optionality in the future to change it. And I think that's where Windows loses. Windows loses because it's not infinitely configurable. And I think historically, Linux has lost because they do not offer a good out-of-the-box experience. So it's like there are two ends of the spectrum. And what you want is something in the middle. You want a framework that is very opinionated, but has escape valves. Me spending 24 hours to install Linux. I wanted with keybinds. Yeah, exactly. 24 hours. Yeah, totally. I don't have any interest in there. You mix it up. There might be a simple way. Log level, then log levels debug. Add those below require setup. Oh, okay, cool. Let's do it. Before we go change anything in the source. Okay, we'll go back. Or no, we don't need edit and then config. And you said add those below the require setup. Okay, so we're going to plugins. We go in here. And so you're saying add, it will put the logs in plugin name. So you're saying below here, set log level. Oh, hold on. You're saying here in the neotest setup call? Is that what you're saying? Log level like that? I think that's what you were saying. But I don't honestly know that's what you were saying. Control T. Stop helping him concentrate on his work. The whole point of the stream is to distract him. Umix Dev is trying to actually help me get to a solution. Let's see. Let's go here. Let's see. Test. Grid. Test. Whoops. I did it again. Okay. And so then you're saying if I go into state invim plugin name.log. Okay, let's see. Bill, One, build great username. Very succinct. Actually, hold on. I think I need to be in invent data to see this, actually. So we're going to go to invent data. And we want, I think we want neotest log. A notepad, neotest log. That's super old. That's from today. New results for adapter, neotest. Right there. Let's see. Reading file. What is this? Why is it reading this file? Setting diagnostics. Summary for event results. What is this? What is this temp file it's reading? Is that where results are being put out, maybe? Let's see. Notepad. You know things are serious when you're... Yeah, this is what the neotest plugin is building. So where does it print the positions? Yeah, so I think here's where things are maybe going awry. Like, look at this kind of odd. There's something odd going on here. Sorry, stream did cut. Oh, whoops, my bad. I don't know, maybe I lost connection. Setup log level. Yeah, I did that. This is what I'm getting. You're passing weird characters somewhere in your code. Maybe it doesn't know how to read it. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, this is a file being generated by neotest. Or sorry, neotest go. So this is the log file for neotest. Right? This is the log file for neotest. And you can see neotest is reading this file to report on the results. It's reading this temp file here, which is what I have open over here. Maybe Gemini can tell me what these strange characters are. Can you tell me what the odd characters are in this string of text? See, there's like a, what is this? Like this should just say internal, but it's got all this gobbledygook in the middle. And I think this is because something about the way they're building the IDs is off. In my opinion, I think there's something off about the way. Tells the terminal cursor to jump to a specific coordinate. Okay, so those are control characters. Interesting. So so are they capturing stuff that shouldn't be there, or maybe because I'm on Windows, I'm capturing things that shouldn't be there? This is gonna probably take a little bit of spelunking to really get to the bottom. It definitely shouldn't be reporting a red X though. But I know that that's what NeoTest falls back to, a red X, if it can't figure out how to deal with the results it was given. See you, Eddie, and thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. I don't have much longer either, guys, honestly. Maybe I'll go to the top of the hour and then hang it up. This is a lot of time in a chair for me being on stream. Okay, so what do I think is happening? Removing underscore might just work. I can't remove underscore in Go, at least. I have to have the underscore. Okay, so I don't think the issue is in. So I know for certain that NeoTest can figure out where my I know for a fact it can figure out where my tests are, because I can run my tests, right? So I'm just kind of narrowing down where the issue is going to be, because I can do this and it will run it, see? So it can properly figure out where the test runs. It just can't, for whatever reason, properly report it. So let's see if we can't dig in here. The Val, thank you very much for subscribing, man. I appreciate it. Let's see, we are sanitizing the output here. Convert the JSON output from Go test to an intermediate if a new file line number is present in the current line, if you're in the context of a file, collect the log data. Now I have to remember how to log all this stuff. This is where I've had issues with before with making changes to NeoVim plugins, is I can never figure out exactly how to do the debugging part of it. So I end up usually just logging things. So maybe that's probably the best thing to do. So this is where the output gets generated. And then here in the init is where we actually see the position to return an ID for. Discover positions. Get experimental ops. Test table. Query for a list of table tests. Query for map table tests. Run spec. So run spec works because we properly can run it. Let's see, return results. Results path file. Yeah, and so this is where NeoTest, the top level plugin, this is where NeoTest. These are basically contracts, right? So the high level plugin basically says you need to implement this, so I know what to do. Prepare results. All right, this is where I think we probably need to spend some time digging into. This is where we generate that file. No, this is where we generate the file here. Return results. Yeah, we're gonna need to go. I'm gonna need to go through this code, and I'm gonna need to add like Vim log statements or NeoVim log statements to this to see what's getting like what is this plugin getting back from Go when it runs it on the command line. Because what NeoTest really does is it 9 times out of 10 it uses a CLI test runner, so it runs like Go test, parses the output, and then translates that text that was outputted to the terminal to something that the NeoTest framework can report in NeoVim. So really it's about figuring out what gets outputted from the terminal and figuring out how the code translates that into something that NeoTest can report. And somewhere along that chain, somewhere in that translation, something's getting lost, which is why we end up with a red X when we should have a green check mark. And it's just going to require us kind of, at least for me, I'm going to have to just kind of log my way through it to figure out where things are going wrong. But the fix, I guarantee you the fix is going to end up being something like this, where we basically just do a check to see if we're on a Windows machine, and then we change the path separator or something. It's going to be something, it's going to involve something like this, I guarantee it. Some sort of if statement. So we'll see. I don't know. Check back tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll have an update on this one. Try running that same. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So let's go into Advent of Code, and we'll CD into. So this would actually be, because I'm guessing it's probably running it. It's probably passing in the command. Let's see, internal grid. Yeah, it's probably doing this. So this is to your point, Bob. This is if your test prints anything outside JSON, Lua doesn't account for it, it will fail. Yeah, so this may be, I don't think it is, but I think this all looks like JSON. But we can see. But to your point, that's for those that might be wondering what the heck are these guys talking about. That's all this NeoTest framework primarily does. It's like a translation layer 9 times out of 10 from translating text that's output to the terminal into something that you can report to results. Whoops, add. So what's interesting is this looks right, but I don't think we're getting the full, let me see, let's do, that's the whole file. What we're actually doing is we're running a single test. So it'll actually be something like this, where we do run test from. That's actually what it should be. So we're getting, so maybe it's not a path separator thing, maybe it's some sort of control character thing, because we're getting forward slashes out. But if we look at the file from NeoTest, see, you can Rem Jesus something or other. Yeah. So to your point, Bob, I think that's what's happening. See all this? I think that's might be what's happening. But why? Why? Yeah, why? Why is that happening? I would be actually curious. Let me try something. I think we can test this. So if I do this and I run that, okay, and then I go to my logs, we should be able to find the new note that it created right there. And let's open that. I think Bob found the issue. I think Bob found the issue, just like he did this morning. So this is the output that NeoTest is writing to a file. So you can see, like, it shouldn't have all this gobbledygook is probably screwing up its ability to parse it. So how do we fix that? And why are those characters there to begin with? I mean, I guarantee you it's because I've got something in my, I'm on Windows, I'm using PowerShell, and I bet I have something in my NeoVim configuration that's screwing up how NeoTest runs this command. Let's see, let's go edit. No, that's not what I want. I want Vim options. Yeah, so I have to do all this stupid, nasty redirect stuff. This was actually, this was the same issue I ran into. This is the same issue. Where is it? But I ran into this one by mistake. Let's see. In the event that the command produces additional output that is not JSON, the additional output will be ignored. We will only parse the JSON string. Yeah, this was a fix for an issue that I found in this. It's interesting that it fails quietly, though. We don't actually log an error. So where... Let's see if we can find the spot in the code that we can make a little one-liner fix and see if it works. Is that your terminal prompt in there at the top? Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't think it's the terminal prompt. I think it's the command that is being passed. I think it's the command that NeoTest is running to generate the test results, and that command includes whatever the shell is that I want to use to execute that command. Is I think what's happening. Oh, wait, no. I think you're right, actually. I think that's what this is. And I think that's what this is right here. I think that's what the 25 hours is, maybe. 25H, is that part of my... No, because I don't have time in my prompt. Do I? Yeah, no, I don't have time in my prompt. And I would expect this to be there too. Why wouldn't this be in there? Yeah, so I think this is the executable. I think this is the executable that's being passed by NeoTest to run this on the terminal. Okay, first, before we start figuring out why this is there, can you temporarily disable your PowerShell config? Yes, we could try that. Yeah, for sure we could. But what I want to do is I actually want to see if I only capture the JSON output, if it works. That's what I want to try to do. So give me 1 second to see if I can make that change. So we're right here, and we have test result dot output. Now where does that come from? Test result comes from where? Test result, if test result. Okay, so where does this guy come from? Test result equals test normalized ID. And where does test come from? Output.marshall go test output lines. And this is just strings of text. And so we're getting all the line. So we're getting each line. We're saying if line something empty. Huh. So they're parsing this line by line. I'm trying to think of the best way to test what you asked to test, Bob Knoll. So you're saying disable my PowerShell or disable my oh my posh config, then open NeoVim and run it. I don't think it's my oh my posh config though. But we can try. I think what's happening is I think when NeoTest runs this, I think it's calling PWSH like this, which I think is then outputting. You see what I mean? I think it's doing something like PowerShell, and then it is passing in the go test command, and that's why we're getting all that extra stuff in the output. Because I'll bet if I delete all that, I'm just going to do it manually. If I delete all this from that file, let's see what happens. Oh no, because I can't make it load that result file. Oh shit, it's already 6:15. I said I was going to be done at the top of the hour. What's interesting is this displays correctly, doesn't it? So the output displays correctly. I don't know. I might have to think on this one a little bit to figure out what's the best way to... Okay. I'm going to call it, I think. All right. Let's see. Who's all here? We got 36 people here. I appreciate all of you for sticking with me. I'm glad we got Advent of Code Day 11 Part 2 solved. I'm going to figure out how I can make my test runner work with Go. I'm going to do that. I don't know when, but at some point we will figure that out. But it's not going to be today, or at least not today on stream. Let's see. If you're new here, and let's see, I don't know. My thinking is you have fancy stuff on top of PWSH. It might be related. It could be, and I think it's worthwhile to run it in a vanilla setup in PowerShell. It's probably worth it to change some of my NeoVim configurations so that maybe it uses a different shell to execute the go test command. I think it's also would be interesting to see if we can get the test results in just a JSON blob instead of all that extra stuff that's at the top, and seeing if it starts reporting the correct results. So I'll explore all those stuff, but it's not going to be today on stream. But I think Bob Knoll hit it on the head of what the root of the problem is, and we'll get that figured out. All right, so if you're new here and you want to hang out with anybody, including me or anyone in chat outside of the stream, the best place to find us is in my Discord, which I'll put the link in the chat there. If you would like to hang out in a future stream, my schedule is typically from 4:15 a.m. to about 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. I just put that schedule in the chat as well for your reference. So if you did enjoy hanging out here and you'd like to come back, that's the best time to catch me live. I know that right now is not abiding to that schedule, but that's because today was a unique day. So yeah, I'll go live at other times, but that's the schedule I can kind of stick to, I guess, be consistent with. So you're welcome to come back. If you see me live, you want to stop in and say hi, that'd be wonderful. Otherwise, I will see you in maybe the comments of a short or a video if I don't see you on stream. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday. If it's already Tuesday for you, have a wonderful Tuesday, because time zones are weird like that. And I'll see some of you tomorrow morning. Suhas, I hope you have a great night, man. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bob Knoll, thanks for all your help, man. I appreciate it. You Mixed Dev, appreciate you. Who else is in chat? ETN, he left already. I think I got everybody. Filthy Potato was here. He probably left already. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye, chat. Appreciate you. Bye. Bye. See you guys. Bye, Anonymous Panda. Have a good night, man.